Almost got it at 11 o'clock. Uh, Hello, and welcome to a brand new episode of Dylan Knows, episode 673, International Cat Day. I honestly couldn't think of another title for this past week because honestly, not a lot of shit happened this week, but I had a lot of stuff happen this week, so go figure. I'm going to try it again for the third straight show. One of these, see if this helps any. It's cherry limeade. I like the flavor. Last week it didn't do so well. But yeah, hello, I'm Dylan. This is my show. I've been doing it now for close to 13 years, I think. About a month from now, it'll be my 13th anniversary, 14th. I think it's 13th anniversary. About a month from now, mid-September is when that happens. So yeah, believe it or not, it's August 8th, 2026. So not quite mid-August yet, but we're moving right along here. The next few weeks are going to be a little crazy. My daughter's last week of work is this week. So her last day is the 14th, and then she takes another week off just to get ready for college, and then she's back to school. We move her in 2 weeks from now. My wife just got back from like 9 days in Maine, so she's had a good time, and she's just recovering right now, so that's good. She has sunburned lips, so I really can't kiss her too much right now, so I get cheeks and stuff like that is fine, but not on the lips. And so that's fine. We have to deal with her car issues soon. Monday is the BTS concert downtown in Baltimore. My wife and daughter are going to be going to that. So my wife is going to meet my daughter. I don't care about this. There it is. I don't care about this either. Ugh, stupid pop-ups. They're going to be going to the BTS concert. So my wife is going to swing by my workplace on Monday early, and they're going to just go down to the light rail stop, which is right there. Wednesday, the 12th, is when gravity is supposed to shut off for 7 seconds. Don't ask. It's not going to happen, but you'll be hearing a lot about that this week, and we'll talk about it on next week's show. We also do actually have a actual space thing going on. We have a total solar eclipse coming on the 12th, and an alignment. Jesus Christ. I don't want to see any of these pop-ups. And then a planetary alignment. So, all right, this is really annoying. So, we got all that coming up. And then Friday is the arrival of End of Oak Street, which I really, really want to see. Next Saturday will be my nephew's. Finally, we're going to celebrate his birthday, which was back in May, and his graduation from high school, which is back in June. So, and then we head closer to with my daughter into college, my son's 17th birthday, and then him going back to school. And then in September, yay! So it's moving right along now. It was a terrible weather week this week. Hot, humid, disgusting stuff. We'll talk about the humidity in a little bit because there was something historical about the humidity this week. And now all of a sudden, this is awesome. It shifted from being all black to now I've got like no face, which is cool. Good for you guys too, so you have to look at my dumbass face. Also, believe it or not, got a lot of Christmas stuff popping up here. I mean, I guess tis the season, talking about Halloween and Christmas and fall stuff. It's, they're much like with every holiday, whatever, everything gets moved up. You'll start seeing, you might already see Halloween stuff in shops right now. I've seen some in there now too, but we're going to see a lot more autumn and fall stuff here within the next couple of weeks. And then Christmas stuff will be popping up right behind that. So that's just kind of a little weird, but that's okay. Got my son his real ID so he can get his checking account. We also got his checking account set up finally, so that's good. And then I peed myself again. How the hell does this always keep happening? Whatever. It is International Cat Day. My cat usually is down here by now, but he has both his mom and his sister home, so he's probably hanging out with them right now. He might pop up a little later in the show. But I've only had cats. Gypsy was the first cat I ever had back when I lived at home with my mom. My dad, unfortunately, found her. She was an outdoor kitty. He found her dead, hit by a car in front of his car when he's ready to go to work early in the morning one day. So that was kind of a rough day. Buried her on the side of the house. My dad didn't want to get a cat, but we were able to convince him, and we named her Gypsy because his favorite singer, Stevie Nicks, and she has a song Gypsy. So we thought that was cute. And then we got Gracie, who was our gray and white kitty, who was given to us by my dad's second wife, who was a cat person, and found Gracie on the side of the road. She had been declawed by whoever had her first, so she had to stay inside. But we let her outside on the porch a little bit and watched her a little bit in the grass a little bit, and made sure she didn't go too far away. And she was able to catch a bird for us once, which was good. And she was mostly indoor kitty, and she was fine. She stayed alive for a while. I think she died after I moved out, I think. And then when I moved in with my wife, I became the adoptive dad to Bonnie and Clyde, who were my wife's two cats. And they moved in with us with our apartment. And then they moved into our house here in 2004. But Clyde got sick and died like in 2007 or 2008, somewhere around there. And then Bonnie died a few years after that, about 2010, 2011. And then we got Jinx, who was also rescued. Someone rescued Jinx from a family that had 4 other cats, and they were tormenting poor Jinx. So we got Jinx and brought her to our house, and she was our kitty for the longest time. And then she passed away a few years ago. Was she with us through COVID? I think so. I think she passed after COVID. And then we got Pepper. We've had him now for about 2 years, 2.5 years now. He's going to be turning 3 in November. So he's being Pepper. So he's always good. So that's International Cat Day. And that's one thing I haven't done. I haven't posted an International Cat Day post, but I'll probably do that. I've been very lax in my Instagramming, so I haven't really done too well of a job with that lately. So we're going to keep moving on now. So here we go. A 5.6 earthquake hit Alaska today. Beverly Hills cop and clear and present danger are supposed to be getting the 4K treatment, so that's good. Adventures of Cliff Booth, the sequel to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, that is not directed by Quentin Tarantino but by David Fincher, but is written by Quentin Tarantino, is going to be undergoing reshoots, and it may not make its Thanksgiving debut. It may not come out now till next year, so we'll see what happens with that. Oh, yeah, here's what we're talking about. So I remember it was like Wednesday or Thursday. I think it was Thursday. We had the air conditioning on because it was so hot and humid out. And the windows in my house were completely covered in condensation, which has never happened. Even with the air conditioning and the humidity out there, the humidity has never been as high as that was. And I had never seen that before. The front and the back windows were covered. It was crazy. I mean, it was hot and humid all weekend, and there wasn't any condensation as bad as this. Now, the front door gets a lot of it, and that's understandable, but not the windows. Not my front windows, not my back windows. These did, which was crazy. And they're saying that the scientists were taking a look at the humidity levels, not just in our state, but across the country, and they said they were just as bad as they are in the Amazon. So that was great. Good news, though, is I think by the end of next week, unless they changed it, the weather's supposed to get much better. Let's see if they changed it. So I haven't really taken a look at it in a while. 89 tomorrow, bleh. 90 on Monday, bleh. 86 on Tuesday, bleh. 82 Wednesday, that's good. 85 Thursday, bleh. 83 Friday, it sounds okay. Here we go. Next Saturday, 78. Next Sunday, 79. Next Monday, 78. So we have a full week of shitty August weather with highs, the lows, the lowest low being 68 on Wednesday and the highest low being 72, which is disgusting, which is tomorrow. So, yeah, we're in for some more disgusting bullshit. We had a decent rainstorm during the week, but again, we keep missing out on the big snowstorms, which is fun, not just rainstorms. And I'm okay with that. Doing one last check here. Nope. So I got all my information that we need to. All right, there we go. The NFL Hall of Fame was this weekend as well. The Hall of Fame game happened with the Panthers pulling a win the last 3 seconds of the game. I think it was over the Raiders, maybe. No, it wasn't the Raiders. It was the Cardinals. And it was quite the game from what I saw, the previews of it. And then the Hall of Fame itself happened. Drew Brees, who was my nephew Drew's favorite player, got in. Larry Fitzgerald, Adam Vinatieri, one of the first kickers in a long time, Roger Craig, and Luke Kuechly got in. So good for them. Congratulations to them. I'm not the biggest fan of Olipop, the probiotic soda. I've had a couple of them before. They just don't taste right to me, but I might have to try this one. They have a caramel apple flavor, which they say is out now, but I'll have to keep an eye out for that. Maybe I'll try that as well. This summer's box office has been insanity. The Odyssey crossed $1 billion this week. And Spider-Man, who debuted last Saturday, my review was on last Saturday's episode of Dylan Knows, debuted last Friday, has already reached $2 billion, has hit records for every day this week, I think, with most stuff, made $150 million this week, being the top grossing film of the week this week. It could actually make a run for the Avatar Endgame numbers as well, because the numbers keep going up, and it just dropped on IMAX on Friday, so it's going to be on IMAX for another week or so before end of Main Street or end of Elm Street comes. So they have another week of that, so that should be interesting to see how that plays out. Still got a lot of good stuff rolling out here. I'm beginning to get really excited about some of the other movies coming out, and there's some good ones popping up that are probably going to make a good amount of money as well, so good on that. Marcus Dunstan and Patrick Melton are set to write the new Leprechaun movie. They have written a bunch of the Saw movies, and one of them is the director. I forget who it is. It's Patrick Melton. So we're going to be seeing a new Leprechaun movie from those two. Live action Labubu movie. I don't really know what the Labubus are, but okay. Will be focusing on their backstory that is featured mostly in Nordic mythology. So that'd be interesting to see that. Halloween, Skippy Peanut Butter is getting into the peanut butter and chocolate candy game with their Skippy PB Halloween snacks. They're a bunch of chocolate and peanut butter with Skippy peanut butter in it, flavored like bats and pumpkins and stuff like that. So that'll be interesting. Sequel to Crawl is going to be set in New York after a hurricane is in the works. Crawl was about a killer alligator that went around killing people. Now we're going to go to New York and have alligators in the sewer after a hurricane. So we'll see what happens with that. Spirit Halloween's parent company is going to be merging Spencer's and Hot Topic into one massive store now. So Spencer's and the competition between Spencer's and Hot Topic has now ended. We'll see how that's going to play out in the end. A rocky planet 48 light years away in the habitable zone of its star is said to have an atmosphere, one of the first of the exoplanets, this inhabitable zones, to have an atmosphere. So we'll see about that. McCormick's releasing new spices, jalapeno lime, salt, pepper, garlic truffle, which is a interesting take, and sesame chili something. I'm gonna have a lot of trouble today because I just was my handwriting was rough today. So there you go. That's interesting. Del Taco. I don't care about your Del Taco. It's a line from Career Opportunities. Is said to be releasing the All American Burger Taco, which is a hamburger and a taco. Okay. Krispy Kreme, who's always getting into all kinds of holidays and craziness. Well, they've got their new autumn seasonal donuts coming out next week. Cookie butter, maple cheesecake, which sounds absolutely delightful. Cafe mocha and the returning pumpkin spice cake donut. And also they're going to be getting a bunch of drinks in there, including a crisp apple drink as well. Be coming next week, I believe, on the 11th, I believe. Smucker's is said to be releasing ready-to-bake pies in cherry crumble, apple crumble, berry crumble, and peach crumble. So it's one of those things where the pie is already made. You like stick it in the oven already, I guess, and there's your dessert. So it's an interesting idea. Not surprising. I mean, I think other people have come up with it, but they're finally getting into the business there. Elizabeth Olsen and her husband, Robbie Arnett, are new parents now. They the first child for them came this week. Supermax, the Will Smith Amazon film, has cast Jason Clarke. Netflix is developing a scripted series about the New York Yankees from Jason Bateman. Ugh, disgusting. New Christmas Story Funko Pops are going to be out in time for Christmas. Andy Berman is set to produce and develop Sherlock's Secretary series. He did Psych and another show, not Monk. He might have done Monk also, but this one is basically a woman who is tasked with answering fan mail to Sherlock Holmes because apparently people still deliver mail to a fictional character who died in the 1800s. Answers the questions and replies to it and signs off on it. And she discovers that she has a knack for discovery, just like Sherlock Holmes. So she becomes a detective and solves stuff. Okay, sure. Oh no, that's a good one. The entire cast is back for the Mummy sequel. We already know about Brendan Fraser, Rachel Weisz, and John Hannah. But we've now got that Oded Fair, Kevin O'Connor, which is interesting because he died, and Arnold Vosloo are all set to return in the sequel. Now, the way they can bring them all back, because it is obviously going to be many years after, probably in the 1940s, probably because it's took place from the time of World War I in that era. So it might be 1940s, 1950s where this might be set. You could do reincarnation potentially because that's what the Egyptians believed. So that's how the dead characters could be coming back to life potentially, and that could be your storyline. So we'll see. A lot of casting news for the Legend of Zelda movie. Deshaun Lockman has been cast. It was discovered this week also that Sam Neill, this is going to actually officially be his last film because it'll be coming out after Godzilla, is also in this movie in a surprise role. Linda Peckham is also in The Legend of Zelda as well. Uli Latukenafin is also in the Legend of Zelda movie as well. I think that's all the ones I have on this page. I think that might be done. But definitely was surprised to hear that Sam Neill is actually in The Legend of Zelda. That just sort of came out of left field. Nobody knew that. Everyone was assuming that Godzilla was going to be his last movie, but apparently not. And that's good because one more movie with Sam Neill is awesome. So I love this because this sticks it to some people. The Critics' Choice Awards are probably one of the more important ones because they're voted on by the fans. They have a bunch of different types of awards that hit different genres. And this week was the Critics' Choice Super Awards, which took a look at more of the sci-fi and comic book hero sort of stuff. Okay. Here we go. Best action film was The Furious. Best actor in an action movie was Z Meow in The Furious. Best actress in an action movie was Charlize Theron in Apex. Best superhero movie was Superman. Best actor in a superhero movie was David Cornsweet for Superman. Best actress superhero movie was Millie Alcock in Supergirl. Take that, haters. Best horror movie, Obsession. Best actor in a horror movie, Ray Fiennes, and 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple. Best actress in a horror movie, Inde Navarrete for Obsession. Fantastic. Best science fiction fantasy movie, Project Hail Mary. Best actor in a science fiction fantasy movie, Ryan Gosling, Project Hail Mary. Best actress in a science fiction fantasy movie, Emily Blunt from Disclosure Day. Best villain in a movie, Amy Madigan, Weapons. Best good boy in a horror movie, Indy, the Good and Good Boy. Best action series, limited series, or made-for-TV movie, Task, with Mark Ruffalo. Best actor in an action series, limited series, or made-for-TV movie, Sterling K. Brown for Paradise. Best actress in an action series, limited series, or made-for-TV movie, Caitlin Olsen for High Potential. Best superhero series, limited series, or made-for-TV series was a tie between Spider Noir and The Boys. Best actor in a superhero series, limited series, or made-for-TV movie, Anthony Starr, The Boys. Best actress in a superhero series, limited series, or made-for-TV movie, Danielle Brooks for Peacemaker. Best horror series, limited series, or made-for-TV movie, Widow's Bay. Best actor in a horror series, limited series, or made-for-TV movie, Matthew Rice, Widow's Bay. Best actress in a horror series, limited series, or made-for-TV movie, Katie O'Flynn for Widow's Bay. Best science fiction fantasy series, limited series, or made-for-TV movie, Pluribus. Best actor in a science fiction fantasy series, limited series, or made-for-TV movie, Sterling K. Brown won again for Paradise. Best actress in a science fiction fantasy series, limited series, or made-for-TV movie, Rhea Seehorn for Pluribus. And best villain in a series, limited series, or made-for-TV series, Anthony Starr for Boys. So I like those. Those are all official award winners. You might not think that, they're not real awards. Yeah, they actually are real awards. So all you haters out there, fuck you about Supergirl. Millie Alcock won for Best Actress in a superhero movie. So fuck you guys. You fucking suck. So good on that. Deaths this week, Fred Hoagland, an NFL player, and Teddy Moore, who played Miss Shields from A Christmas Story, passed away this week, which is sad. So when I watch Christmas Story in December, I'd be sad to see her. Anniversaries, got a ton of them. Airheads debuted 32 years ago this week. One Crazy Summer debuted 40 years ago this week. Ninja Turtles debuted 12 years ago this week, the new updated version of them, obviously. The Abbey Road picture was taken this week, 57 years ago. Transformers, the movie, also came out 40 years ago this week. And G.I. Joe, Rise of Cobra, the live-action G.I. Joe movie, came out 17 years ago this week. Excuse me, guess not helping that much. Kevin Bacon is set to star in a new Amazon film called Summoner with Georgia Wiggum. Sam Mendes, it's just fine talking about the 57th anniversary of the Abbey Road picture. I think Sam Mendes picked it for a particular reason. Sam Mendes is filming the Abbey Road sequence for his 4 Beatles movies this week as well. David Fincher's American Squid Game has been canceled. So no American Squid Game. I honestly did not see the point of it. Yeah, it's going to be disappointing not to see Cate Blanchett play a bad person, but it's just all you would do is just basically do a remake of the actual Squid Game, but with American audience. It really doesn't make a lot of sense to me unless there's no other way you could change it up, but I don't think you'd be able to. We have Spider Island trailer, which is a horror trailer about a group of influencers who go to a party at this hotel built on an island where no buildings are supposed to be built, but this rich person built it to got around some real estate stuff like that. But he built it on a mound of killer spiders, so you gotta love that. And they take out all these disgusting influencers, so that's awesome. This is weird. I've never been a big Baja Blast fan anyway, but Mountain Dew keeps releasing all these special one shots and special things that you're never going to get. But this one just sounds awful. So Mountain Dew is releasing something called Baja Leo, since we are in Leo season right now in your horoscope. And it's basically spiced mango, black pepper, and chili lemon. So a bit more of a spicy soda. Now, the catch is it's only no sugar, which makes sense because it's all spicy and you don't want to have sugar to outdo the spice. But in order to get it, you have to go to the Mountain Dew TikTok store, which I didn't know there was such thing as a TikTok store. And you would have to buy a case of the regular Baja Blast, 12-pack case of the regular Baja Blast off of the Mountain Dew TikTok store. You do that, you will get one can of the Baja Leo Mountain Dew. One can. And you have to buy the 12-pack of Baja Blast anyway. I don't know, it just doesn't sound good to me. Practical Magic 2 dropped a fantastic poster. Love it. Love it a lot. Netflix is creating a series called How Long You Can Live in a Billboard. It's filming now. A lot of reels at TikTok or stuff like that have found a billboard in California and have been photographing him from the ground. So there's actually a dude living in a billboard for Netflix, as Netflix's ads are all over it as well. So that'll be interesting, I guess. Back in the old days, there was a stop motion horror series called Puppet Master. I think I saw one or two. They're just so bad, and the stop motion is just so terrible. But they're just about a bunch of cursed puppets, not like Muppets, but like wooden carved puppets that walk around and kill people, and they're all different, stuff like that. Blumhouse has picked up the rights to that and is going to make a new Puppet Master movie and a TV series to go with it. So that's interesting. Strike this up to a movie nobody cares about, but Adam Sandler has got the gang back together for Grown Ups 3. He's in production now. Brings back the shitty Rob Schneider and shitty David Spade, Chris Rock, Kevin's, what the fuck is his name? The asshole from the TV show, Kevin. Is in there as well. Adam Sandler's in there, and plus everybody who plays their loved ones are back for that as well. They've also cast Dion Cole and Bailey Madison. Again, I don't know. I can't read my handwriting, but that seems about right. So, Grown Ups 3, yippee. Kevin James, that's who it is. Jurassic World 5 is set for June 9th, 2028 with Scarlett Johansson, the other dude, and Mahershala Ali all returning, but Gareth Edwards will not be directing it. He's dropped out, so they have to get a new director. Dave Bailey. This is local news. A kid sells his lemon blueberry buttercream cake for $15,000 at the Carroll County 4-H auction. Money raised to help disabled children. So that's pretty cool. Russell Crowe and Priyanka Chopra Jonas are set to star in Blue Fly, a sci-fi action film. Your Mother trailer is basically what we could have gotten with Mahershala Ali's Blade movie, because Mahershala Ali stars in it, and the guy who directed it was supposedly set to make the Blade movie. So this is not a Blade movie. Basically, it's about a guy who apparently was some sort of hitman or whatever, but has moved on, got married, and had kids, and then his wife dies, and he's got to take care of the kids, but he doesn't have the money or the capabilities to do it, so he gets sucked back into the life of the hitman, but he uses a sword instead of a gun. So yeah, whatever. Madden to debut on Prime on November 18th, which is earlier than usual. Prime. Madden is Nicolas Cage. I think Christian Bale might be in it also, to be honest. It's a biopic about John Madden. I think Bale plays the owner of the Raiders or something like that. But it's going to be following him as he is coaching the Raiders and as he gets into the TV world, I think. It looks interesting. The director is problematic. I forget the guy's name, but I forget his name, but I know he's had problematic. He's a guy that got into a fight with George Clooney because he wanted to do something that George Clooney thought was wrong. Not wrong visually, just wrong, like, for being a good person wrong. I've heard other stories about the director as well, but it looks interesting enough. It was set to debut on Thanksgiving night, but they moved it up a week, I guess, because football is going to be the main focus of Netflix, or I'm sorry, of Prime during Thanksgiving. Actually, it isn't, because Black Friday is when Prime has the game, so I guess everybody thinks that they're going to be watching football and not the Madden movie. So moving it up a week, I guess, is interesting to get people ready for Thanksgiving. I think I'll take a look at David O. Russell. That's who the director is. I think I'll take a look at it. It looks interesting. I like John Madden, so we'll see how they do. Jim Carrey was rumored to be playing the role of George Jetson in a live-action Jetson movie. It has now been official. He has been cast as a live-action George Jetson in the live-action movie. Speaking of David Spade, Joe Dirt gets an animated series. Woohoo. And James Marsden, who's one of the coolest guys and nicest guys in the world, doesn't get a lot of credit, is set to star in a TV series called Bad News Dads for Apple TV, comedy. This is really cool news because I didn't know this was coming up. They're doing a revival of the musical You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown. But what's exciting is the 3 members of the cast they've got in it. They've got Ayo Edebiri to play Snoopy, which is fucking awesome. They've got Danielle Brooks to play Lucy, which is fucking awesome. They got David Hyde Pierce to play Charlie Brown. That's even more fucking awesome. So great cast in this, and I'd never really heard the musical, but it seems like it's the perfect time for a revival because it hasn't been out for a while. So good on you guys for getting that out there. Deaths, William Orbit, a music producer who worked with Madonna on U2, passed away this week. John DeMore, an NFL player, passed away this week. Sammy Price, an NFL player, died this week as well. Anniversaries: the Iron Giant debuted 27 years ago this week. Meteor Man debuted 33 years ago this week. Masters of the Universe, the original one with Frank Langella and Dolph Lundgren, debuted 39 years ago this week. One of my favorites, one of my wife's favorite movies, Real Genius, debuted 41 years ago this week. Heavy Metal debuted 45 years ago this week. Condor Man also debuted 45 years ago this week. Three Ninjas debuted 34 years ago this week. Unforgiven debuted 34 years ago this week. And the Bull Moose Party nominates Teddy Roosevelt 114 years ago. This was after Teddy was president because he was a one-term president and got knocked out in his previous one. So he decided to join the Bull Moose Party, which maybe we should bring that back, change up what their belief system is, and kick all these a-holes out of the White House right now and get this place back to work. Robert Pattinson's on a tear. He had the drama. He had the Odyssey. He's got Dune 3 coming up. And he's working on Batman 2 right now. And he's got Primetime coming up, which is about the To Catch a Predator TV show. And he's doing the perfect impersonation of a real person, Chris, whatever his name is, who hosted the show. It's a movie about that. But this trailer makes it seem more like a creepy, sort of weird psychological thriller type of thing. So it looks interesting, but I don't know. It's set to debut. I think it's limited to September 25th. We'll go wider in October, but I don't know. So we'll see. I am off on the 25th. Maybe I'll check it out. I'm going to check out Resident Evil that day too. So we'll see. Maybe. Universal Monsters Funko Pops will release the Wolfman and Frankenstein in both a black and white and a color version. Scientists have discovered an extinct amphibian from the Ice Age in the La Brea tar pits. That's really kind of neat. That's interesting. I think I talked about this last week, but I'm going to bring it up again. An Indiana Jones comic book is set to be coming from Marvel. They've got the rights back again. It basically takes place right after Raiders of the Lost Ark, so it's kind of a sequel. Warrior Cats, which is getting a new life here. My son absolutely loved it when he was growing up. As a RPG game now for PC. It looks like Kit Connor is going to be playing Cyclops in the X-Men movie, joining Sadie Sink and Samara Weaving. I've seen that he's just in the running for it, and he's the top leader. I haven't seen an official casting notice, so take that what you will. But everyone seems to be under the impression that he is indeed going to be Cyclops. So they're going to be going young, obviously. I think I brought this up again also last week, but I'm going to do it again. MySpace is going to be planning a relaunch in the fall as an anti-logarithm social media site, which is an interesting concept. The Lion is a new series from National Geographic set to debut on the 19th of August with music from Hans Zimmer and produced by Jon Favreau. It is a live-action documentary series about a lion cub and his lion family as they cross the Sahara Desert, live in the Sahara Desert, or wherever they are in Africa. And it's going to be showing on National Geographic Channel on the 19th and Disney Plus on the 20th. I love Fanta. Fanta's been doing a great job with their new flavored sodas. They had that sour cherry one, which was fantastic, that came out earlier this year. We're getting their Halloween one. Last year they had Chucky. This year they have Ghostface Punch, based on the Scream character, set to debut on September 23rd. I cannot try that. I cannot wait to try that. I'm assuming it's some kind of fruit punch sort of flavor. I'm still not sure if I want to try their upcoming 90s soda remix of a tropical flavored soda, because I'm not the biggest tropical flavor fan. I might do a sample of it before I buy a 12-pack. That's to be continued. Kill Jackie, Catherine Zeta-Jones set to star in an Amazon series about a former drug runner who is being hunted down by a group called the Seven. We got our first look at the Lizzie Borden show on FX, set to debut September 17th on FX. Tim Horton, which we don't have around here, is doing Harry Potter donuts. They're doing a Slytherin chocolate pistachio, a Hufflepuff lemon meringue, a Gryffindor strawberry cheesecake, and a Ravenclaw blueberry donut. They're also doing a raspberry blueberry Patronus drink and a sparkling raspberry blueberry drink as well. And they're also doing these golden snitch sort of filled donut things in a golden snitch sort of package. It doesn't matter. There's not any Tim Hortons around us, but whatever. It's the first one. I can't understand what Entenmann's. That's right. I actually found this. Entenmann's does these pop-ums, which are like donut holes, basically. And I use the glazed ones are really, really good. And we get them every weekend, and we plow through them. They had a orange cream one come out earlier this year. It was not that good. It was okay. We tried it. It was okay. It wasn't great. They have a Devil's Food one, which I haven't tried before. They have a straight up chocolate one, which is pretty decent. But if you don't like chocolate, it's not a big deal. They have their pumpkin, which is out now also, which is phenomenal. Their pumpkin pop-ums are so, so good. And now they're releasing the apple cider pop-ums, which I got a box of them. But I got one of the pumpkins and the regular one, so I don't know when we're going to try it, but I decided I wanted to try it. So let you know. So Ryan Hurst was set to be Kratos in the Man of War TV show, but he hurt himself very badly. He's going to be out for like 7 months recovering, and they're like, yeah, we can't wait for him to get back, because it's going to be 7 months for him to recover, and then rehab is probably going to be like another year before they'd be able to probably start making the movie or the show again. So they decided not to wait for him. So they're looking for a replacement, and they think they found him in Dave Bautista, which is an interesting choice. So we'll see if that actually comes to fruition. No official announcement yet, but it sounds like that's probably going to be what's going to be the case. A Peru man, so it's not Florida man, it's Peru man, had a 800-year-old mummy he called his girlfriend taken from him from the police because he wasn't supposed to have it. So an 800-year-old mummy in his house that he called his girlfriend, a Peru man. So either he is someone who is reincarnated and that is his actual girlfriend, or he's just crazy. But I like Peru, so Peru man's pretty cool. 5-Star Weekend with Jennifer Garner gets a second season. A documentary about the Gilmore Girls will be out in time for fall because apparently Gilmore Girls is a fall type of TV show. Beth Kozel McQueen, an NBA player, passed away this week. And Katsushi Murakami, a toy designer, also died this week. Anniversaries. The original Suicide Squad from David Goyer 10 years ago this week. The Suicide Squad with James Gunn came out 4 years ago this week. The Blob came out 38 years ago this week. Mystery Men came out 27 years ago this week. The debut of Miles Morales in the comics 15 years ago this week. Prey debuted 4 years ago this week. Stakeout debuted 39 years ago this week. The Sixth Sense debuted 27 years ago this week. The Fugitive debuted 33 years ago this week. The Hiroshima bombing happened 81 years ago this week. The Donner Party took the shortcut leading to cannibalism 180 years ago this week. Risky Business debuted 43 years ago this week and made Rebecca De Mornay one of my early crushes up there with Bo Derek. Because that was a movie I saw when I probably shouldn't have also, but yummy. That and God Created Women, the sex scene in that with Frank Langella, which is just disgusting, but the sex scene in that was just phenomenal. But I digress. What's happening? One of my favorite shows is 50 years old. How about that? How can I have watched a show 50 years old? Because I'm 53 years old. Debuted back in 1976, was in syndication, and it was just a show that I watched all the time. I don't know. It was just something that was on, and I watched because I wanted to watch TV when cartoons weren't on, or I was homesick or whatever they had on. It's a great show. It's, hey, what's happening? And it was just about three friends in the neighborhood they live in, and the stuff they have to deal with as well. It's such a great show. 50 years, man. That's crazy. And Collateral with Tom Cruise and Jamie Foxx debuted 22 years ago this week. That's everything on this page. Yep. Next. The Varnell Hill Show, which is a spinoff of Martin starring Tommy Davidson, will have Martin Lawrence popping in as Martin, portraying, redoing his role as Martin, and a guest appearance. He's not a main character in it. Twizzlers Ghosts are going to be coming out in time for Halloween, just basically little Twizzler pieces, which they already have anyway, but they're in the shape of ghosts. Jafar Jackson is set to star in Supermax also, so you get him and Will Smith together, and if he can turn that into another starring vessel along with Mike, Jafar Jackson could have a major career coming up. Supermax is probably due out next year on Amazon, MGM, so it'll hit theaters. Probably if they get it done quickly, it might hit around the time of the Project Hail Mary window, and might make just as well because it'll be Will Smith's return to filmmaking after a few years, particularly an action film. And you throw Jafar Jackson in there, I think if you can get him to be a decent action hero, he's going to be a huge star. So that's to be continued next year. We'll see if that actually happens. Star Wars has been dubbed into Welsh for the first time ever. That's awesome. I would love to hear that dub. The Preakness Stakes here in Maryland, the second part of the Triple Crown, is going to be moving to Sunday for the first time ever in its history, hoping to give an extra day's rest for people and maybe get more of the horses that ran the Kentucky Derby to come up and race in that. August 20th will be the new season of something. No idea. So, oh well. Brittany Snow is set to join the cast of the Housemaid sequel with Sydney Sweeney and Kirsten Dunst. Ted Lasso has returned. The first episode of Ted Lasso debuted on Tuesday. Have not watched it yet. I've gotten mostly good reviews from it. Read some of the spoilers for it, and it is basically pretty much set entirely in Kansas City and has a very big Wizard of Oz thing, and it's not quite your typical sort of Ted Lasso episode. It's a little bit darker than Ted Lasso's, but it's the first episode. People are bitching that this isn't my Ted Lasso I love. It's the first episode, and they're setting up what's going to happen, and it's going to be what is going to lead to this run because Ted's in a bad place, and him going back to Richmond is going to get him back to normal to equalize him. And then he adds his family to that mix, so it should be interesting to see that dynamic as that plays out. I don't know when we're going to get around to seeing it. We don't have Apple TV. I want to get Apple TV, but we've got a lot of other issues financially we have to deal with. Plus, they're releasing it once a week. It's not going to end till October. So, is that right? Yeah, it's like 9 episodes. So it started in August. So 4 episodes in August, 4 in September, and then the finale is like in early October. So maybe I kind of want to get it before the end of the year because I want my son to watch the Monarch TV show because he likes the Godzilla stuff and that's connected to that. And I want to see it myself. I want to see Ted Lasso. I want to see The Gorge. I want to see Severance. I want to see the psychology one. I forget, you know what I'm talking about with Harrison Ford from the creators of Ted Lasso. Shit. Shrinking. That's what it is. Wildwood is a new animated film from Laika. I saw a trailer for that for Spider-Man. That was awesome, and it's set to come out on October 23rd. So I'm already going to see, I think, Clayface, and there's Kiara and the Sun is coming out that day also. So I might end up seeing it or some combination of that around that time. Insidious Out of the Whatever trailer came out came out this week, and the movie's coming out August 21st. Akron is going to allow a season ticket holder to call the first offensive play in their home opener for the college football. So that's interesting. Jack Somebody and James Nesbitt have joined the cast of Hercule, the Poirot prequel. Alan Ritchson to star in a heist thriller based in the world of MotoGP, which I don't know what the fuck that is, but okay. Viola Davis has a show on Paramount called Ascent coming up here soon. A Ready Player One sequel is in the works. Steven Spielberg will not direct, but he will produce it. There is a sequel in the book form too, so maybe we'll do that. Potentially, there's been beginning talks, but nothing yet for a Freeman sequel, Freeman 2. Violent Night 2 trailer came out. Looks fucking awesome. Kristen Bell looks great as Mrs. Claus. David Harbour continues to kill it as Santa Claus, and it looks like it's a completely different story than what you were expecting. You could have done a rehash of the first one, but instead they're doing something different. I want to watch the first one in the next couple months before the second one comes out during one of the periods of time where my family's not going to be home or I'm going to take a day off and they're not going to be home to watch it then. So I have it. I just haven't watched it yet. But it's awesome. The original Violent Night was an action film about a boozing Santa Claus who was also a killer gunfighter and action star who has to help a girl who's kidnapped on Christmas Eve. And it's just basically a Santa Claus Die Hard sort of thing. This one somehow he loses powers. So a bunch of people who have a beef with him are going to start coming after him and attack him until he discovers the real meaning of Christmas. It looks freaking great, and I'm interested to see it. The director's cut of the X-Files film, I Want to Believe, which I never saw because it came out years after I stopped watching X-Files, and it got really bad reviews. But this is Chris Carter directed it, and he had to acquiesce to the distributors because they wanted something closer to the X-Files TV show. He wanted to do something more horrific, but they weren't allowing him to do it. So that's why the movie kind of tanked. But now he finally, years later now, he finally has the ability to do a director's cut. So he did. He added stuff. He made a director's cut and is releasing it on Peacock this week, actually, I think. And the trailer for it came out. It does up the ante on the horror. I don't know how horrific it was before because I never saw the original one. So we'll see. Jamie Foxx is back in movies. He's going to be making a movie called Deadlocked. Supposedly also, he is going to be working on Spawn with Todd McFarlane. I don't know how true that is. I've heard rumors about that, but I haven't seen anything except for one little blurb from Todd McFarlane, but I don't know if you can truly trust that or not. WNBA expanded. They have a new team called the Cleveland Sirens, not police sirens. It's sirens like the mermaids from the Odyssey. New Darkman movies in the works. Sam Raimi said he's in the beginning processes of that. He's also set to team up with Stephen King to do an adaptation of Desperation, which I think I talked about last week, but I want to be sure I want to bring it up there again. Desperation is a really weird book, and it's a really horrific villain, and it's not really interesting, to be honest. It's just a bunch of people who end up in this place called Desperation. It's a desert town, and discover like this ghost town almost, but is run by this horrific police officer who puts him in jail, but he bleeds out of all his orifices and stuff like that. It was a weird release because Desperation came out with a Richard Bachman book and basically has the same characters in it, but they're two different stories from two different alternate realities. But they had the same cover sort of artwork on it, and they're sort of based in similar storylines, sort of similar characters, villains, stuff like that. But one was different than the other. So it's kind of a weird little dichotomy, but Desperation already came out once in one of the TV movies with Ron Perlman as the bad guy. So we'll see. But just to have Sam Raimi doing a Stephen King movie is a great idea. And Desperation, I guess, if done properly with him, is a good thing. FAST, which is the guy who created Yellowstone, Sheridan, I think. It's his new movie, has been moved to May 14th, 2027 from August 6th, 2026. So obviously, it's not, or August 7th, I should say. So obviously it didn't come out this week. So it's been moved to May 14th, 2027 for whatever reason. I guess and that puts it right in the middle of the summer, the beginning of the summer movie season. I guess Sheridan has his fans from Yellowstone and all that, and we'll see what happens. So FAST or FAST is moved to May 14th, 2027. Pumpkin Spice White Russian Cutwater. It's an interesting alcoholic beverage, so go for that as well. Death Ray Jarvis, NFL player, passed away this week. And Dory Funk Jr., a wrestler, passed away this week as well. Anniversaries: Talladega Nights came out 20 years ago this week. Babe came out 31 years ago this week. Young Einstein with Yahoo Serious came out 37 years ago this week. The Little Rascals live-action version, 1994, came out 32 years ago this week. Dick, a fantastic film, came out 27 years ago this week. Really? Yeah, 1999. Yeah, that's right. Marilyn Monroe died 64 years ago this week. Died. She was murdered by the FBI or CIA or whatever. Coyote Ugly debuted 26 years ago this week as well. All right, let's just 74. BTS, Gravity, End of Oak Street. All right. still take a look at that. So we got about a page and a half left here. So here we go. Kumail Nanjiani is set to star, produce, and direct a horror comedy called Howl, obviously about a werewolf. I wish. One of my wishes is I've always wanted to kind of be a director, and I would have wished that I would have done something about that because I would have loved to adapt Peter David's Howling Mad, because I love Peter David's great writer. I'm not saying that this is what Kumail's doing, but it's a horror comedy about werewolves. Howling Mad is a great premise that only Peter David could have come up with. It's basically what would happen if a human bit a wolf during a full moon, and the wolf turns into a human. It's such a great fucking idea, and I don't know if Kumail's doing something similar to that. It's called Howl. It's a werewolf comedy, horror comedy, so we'll see what happens, and that might be interesting. But if it turns out to be like kind of an adaptation of Howling Mad, that's fucking awesome if they do that. Eggo Syrup, and actually, I had my kitty run through here just in time for International Cat Day, but he disappeared, not leaping up on me. So it was here a second ago. Oh, there you are. Hey, Pep. You want to make an appearance on the show? Don't feel like it today. Is Mommy and Noelle upstairs? Okay. Eggo Syrup, an original and butter flavor, is back out in stores now. PB&J cookies that have peanut butter and jelly inside it, obviously. Pumpkin chai body lotion. Okay. Kid Cudi, Jessica Roth, Travis Fimmel, and Natasha Lyonne have just finished production on Pathetic Fallacy. That's a great name for a movie. Mary Holland joins the cast of the Jimmy Olsen show that James Gunn is doing, which is starting to sound like a really neat idea also. So that's good. The Frighteners on 4K is going to be coming out here soon. Leatherface, the house that Leatherface from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, where the majority of the movie takes place, is now a restaurant. The official setting of it is now a restaurant. Okay. Don't know this one either. Oh, woman, that's right. Older woman brings in a full roast dinner to a movie theater. Now, my daughter likes to sneak in lots of candy and sodas and stuff like that from home. And for the most part, they don't care. They don't check her bags or anything like that. They don't care. They just let her do stuff. But this woman brought in a complete roast dinner, which I think is hilarious. Excuse me. Giant iceberg capsizes off the coast of Greenland. Matt Johnson and Benny Safdie are set to work on a TSA comedy. Cookie Dough Kit Kat, which has a really cool design on it, is set to come out here soon. Snickers Ghoulish candy bars is coming. Ghoulish green candy bars coming. The nougat is going to be green for Halloween. Fruit Loops Zombie Crunch, which is a zombie like purple and black sort of looking Fruit Loops thing, has come out here. Stray Cats cause delivery robots to collide with each other and issues when they're on top of them and stuff like that. I waited for this one because this has one of the best names ever, and I want to write it down and put it on my name list somewhere. I'm going to write it down here. It's such a great fucking name, and I have this list of names at work that we had from names we've seen in on our orders, and I write them down. And I know, and I also have a few that aren't because they're just cool, but this is just a great name. I'll guess it, Beth. I should know that. There we go. All right. So Task, I talked about the show already a little bit. And I do feel a little more energized. Thank you, Cherry Lime made Ghost. So I do feel more energized here as I get close to ending the show. But Task, which was the show, HBO show with Mark Ruffalo in it, it's getting a season 2, and they're getting a whole new bunch of cast members in there. Some really good ones as well. Tim Blake Nelson, Jamil Jerome, Brian Forceline, Kevin Dunn, Andrew Rumor, and the greatest name you're going to hear in a long time, Bethlehem Million. I love that name. It's so awesome. Is actually a person, and they will be in Task season 2. Bethlehem Million. Fucking A. So the women's baseball league, professional baseball league, WPBL, started last Saturday, and I talked about it a little bit on my show on Saturday because one of my coworkers is on the San Francisco Firebells. She tried out, she got accepted, got drafted halfway through San Francisco's draft, and has played. They've only played 4 games. They played 4 games. Their record is 2-2. They won their first game, and my coworker hit a double. Was 2 for 4 with a walk, hit a double, scored a run, and she made it to a highlight as she came in to score on another double for her, the one run she has. Hi, Peppy. What is that? I don't know what that is. So that was that, and then that was on Sunday, and they won that game. Their initial game they won, and then they played on Thursday, and they lost that game pretty badly. But my coworker got a highlight because she made a great catch. She's a right fielder. She made a great catch, and so I got to see her do that. Then they lost on Friday. She didn't do very well on Friday. She did okay on Thursday. She went 1 for 3, including a run and a base hit. She went 0 for 3 on Friday's game, and she didn't play today because I knew she was going to a wedding sometime. So I think she was out of the lineup either for a rest or she was not going to be available to play. So they won today. So they're 2-2, which is good. They have a break now until next week. So they're not playing again until next week, I don't think. I'll double check that as well. But it's been fun to watch. I wish we could see more of it, but I already went on my rant about that. So we're not going to on last week's show. So we're not going to deal with that anymore. Hi, buddy. It's no longer National Cat Day, but I wish you'd come up here so you'd show off again, but you're not going to. The one time I want you to, you're not showing off. You're just staying down there. People might think I'm crazy. They think I'm talking to nothing, but you're down there, and you know it. So good on that. I'm going to keep an eye on that. That goes through September, so she won't be back with us until the end of September, maybe beginning of October. Anniversaries. I'm sorry, no, it's deaths first. For deaths, Willie Nelson Brown, an NFL player, passed away. Carlos Del Campro, voiceover actor, passed away. Scott Hylands, a Streets of San Francisco, X-Files, Night Hunt actor, passed away. Natalie Donchen, a Russian actress, died at the age of 56. Justin Harley, director of Wicker Man 2, died shortly after he finished filming the movie. Jim Crut, a Dawn of the Dead actor, passed away this week as well. Mary Rivera, Ned's Nana and Spider-Man No Way Home, passed away this week as well. Jerry Wayne Topher, NFL player, died this week as well. Jerry Wayne Hopkins. And then Alan Nascimento, a UFC fighter, died at the age of 34 this week. Anniversaries: Hollow Man, debuted 26 years ago this week. It was a Kevin Bacon, Paul Verhoeven, Invisible Man movie. Rush Hour 2, 25 years ago this week. The Bourne Ultimatum, 19 years ago this week. Weird Science debuted 41 years ago this week. Robin Hood Men in Tights debuted 33 years ago this week. Parenthood debuted 37 years ago this week. And Chain Reaction debuted 30 years ago this week. That's Keanu Reeves and Morgan Freeman. All right, last page is basically 2 stories. And well, actually, 1 story technically. The Catch, a romantic comedy, is going to star Chris Fleming and Irma Shayk. Anniversaries, the Omega Man debuted 55 years ago this week. Fright Night debuted 41 years ago this week. Matilda debuted 30 years ago this week. And Spawn debuted 29 years ago this week. I finished this book called The Death of the Dark Woods by Annalise something or other. Let me get her full name here so I can give her full credit for it. Annalise Ryan. It's the second book in a series. I read the first book, Death in Door County. This one was Death in the Dark Woods. And then she's got 2 more that are out. I have one I'm getting ready to read. I haven't ordered the newest one. And then the next one, the 5th one, is not out till January. So it's on my pre-order on that. Basically, it's a very easy read. Very light, very fluffy, very like beach ready sort of thing. And interesting premise, but the premise is starting to wear on me a little bit. I'm still going to read it because I like the story and I like the characters, but the stories are getting predictable after only 2 books. So I'm assuming the rest are going to be that way as well. What got me into it originally was that the premise of it is that there is a woman who is from a well-to-do family, and they were so well-to-do that they were able to travel the world and investigate cryptids like Bigfoots and Loch Ness monsters and other types of creatures like that. Her parents were murdered by the main character's fiance, who was trying to steal money from them, and set it up to make it look like she was the one that murdered them, and then he escaped. So he's still at large. She was able to get off, and she inherited the money from her parents. So she opened up a odds and ends store, a bookstore that also has weird mythic and supernatural stuff in it as well, in the Wisconsin, Michigan, right around the lakes area. And on the side, she works as a cryptozoologist who, if police officers have strange murders that have potential supernatural aspects or cryptid aspects to it, they come and consult her with it, and she goes and investigates it with her scientific knowledge. It's light, as I said, light, fluffy. It's done in the first person, so she says I all the time saw from her. Basically, she's writing down like a diary almost what's going on. And it's as I said, it's a real easy read. There are 300 plus pages each. The characters I like are very compelling. Not compelling, but they're fun. We have the main character, Morgan, her dog, Newt, who is always by her side, the chief of police, John, who is her love interest, and the workers in her, Devin, and I forget the other character's name. I want to say Mary, something like that, who work in there. And the first one was called Death in Door County, and it was about these guys that were murdered in boat crashes, but he had weird bite marks and stuff like on it. And there have been eyewitnesses said it was a lake monster. And so the lakes could potentially have lake monsters since they're big and they're deep and stuff like that. So Morgan is called in to investigate this by John, who is a new chief of police in town, and sparks fly between them as they try to solve this crime. And it doesn't turn out to be a cryptid, which sucks, but I'm not going to get any more. That's the spoilers you're going to get because you're probably not going to read these anyway. And at the end, John came in to save her because she got in way over her head, stuff like that. So then the second one comes out, and she's investigating a Bigfoot murders in the woods. And she's able to do a little bit more, but again, sort of similar thing. It's not Bigfoot. It's something else. And John, in the end, comes and helps out again. So the storyline is kind of the same, and the next ones have other cryptids as well. There's a cryptid that's localized to the Wisconsin, Michigan area, which I've never heard of before, is the next one. And then there's one that's another werewolf type of creature And then there's a Mothman type creature in the new one that's coming out in January. So we'll see. Again, it's all going to probably turn out to be not cryptid, and John will come in and save her at the end. And that's fine. I mean, that's what you expect. They're just typical sort of rom-com, action adventure, supernatural sort of things. And the writer does a really good job of setting up a lot of story, but they're light and fluffy. And is able to pull the wool over your head on certain things. So I do have to admit the killers were not who I expected. So in both books, so that's plus. So we'll see. But the main thing I like about it though is that I can see a definitely movie series of these. I mean, not like a Hallmark movie. So you could probably get them. You could probably release it into main theaters. It's got a good enough storyline. I mean, it's easy to tell it'll be a breezy summer film sort of thing to watch. Not going to be any award-winning thing, just like an easy buck to make, and it'll be a fan favorite probably. And I keep picturing Florence Pugh in the main role. I think because I love Florence Pugh, but I can't really focus on anybody else but her in that role. And I kind of want to see Andrew from Spider-Man and who worked with her, and I love this movie. I can't think right now. We Live in Time. Andrew Garfield as John, and have them continue their great thing. And also see Jennifer Love Hewitt as Mary, the old lady who works at the bookstore, and Devin I saw as the guy who was in Star Wars. Not Oscar Isaac, the black guy. I forget the actor's name right now. I think get him a good role. And what I would do is, because the storyline is told basically from her viewpoint, and it's very quick and easy. The storyline is simple. It would be really easy to film, just investigative stuff like that. It wouldn't be a long movie, so you'd have to add some stuff to it. So if you get those actors, those famous actors in there, you can do secondary stories and build sort of like this sort of nice small lakeside town, and get some quirky characters in there, create ones that aren't in the book like that, and have the other characters who aren't really involved in the storyline have something to do during the movie to give them other side story. That's just my opinion. I love that. But I like these movies. Annalise Ryan, if you want to check them out, they're easy breezy reads. They're fun. They're not like mind bending, and they're interesting. I mean, the character is not quite exactly what you think. There is a bunch of cliched stuff in there, obviously, and I'm a little big not a fan that they're most of the time the villains aren't cryptids, and that John is always popping up at the end to save her, which I think is kind of stupid, but we'll see. I like this series. I'm still going to read it. I'm getting ready to begin the third one probably tomorrow, or should we see today, since it's now 12:15 on August 9th. So yeah, that's all I got. So next week, as I said, my wife and daughter are going to the BTS concert on Monday. Gravity gets switched off on Wednesday, and the end of Elm Street is on Friday, and that's it. And my nephew's party is on Saturday. Community Day is next Sunday. So yeah, interesting stuff. That's all I got. All right, I think I'm done. Thanks for watching. Unfortunately, I did lose a subscriber last week, and that kind of made me a little depressed. But this helped me out, so I think I'll continue to do it. I got another one up there in the refrigerator, so maybe I'm getting addicted to them now. I really want to try the Halloween ones when they come out. All right, I'm out of here. Take care. Have fun. Have a good week.